Hello everyone, I'm Tim from Tim's PC and I build custom PCs to suit anyone's needs or budget. Also live stream my builds and repairs for transparency and educational purposes. So if you'd like to get an awesome new PC and you'd like to see it get put together live, send me a message today. Alright, so tonight we've got a couple of PCs to just diagnose and repair essentially. So one is a walk-in and the other one is a referral. It's one of Cataclysm's customers. So the first one that we're going to be dealing with is the walk-in. So he's got this system here. I believe his power supply will be under warranty, but the guy that he bought it from, obviously he was doing stuff with PCs like a couple of years ago. Now he's moved on to the next thing and he's overseas and he can't provide the customer with a refund or anything right now, but he needs this PC for work. So I've got a pretty good idea of what's wrong with this one, and the issue is the power supply capacitors exploded on him, and so that can happen. It's not necessarily an indication that there's anything wrong with the power supply. I believe it's a Thermaltake brand, which is, they make good power supplies. It can happen to the best of us, essentially. Everything's got a non-zero failure rate. Yeah. Hey Richard, how you going? Good to have you with us, as always. Okay, so we got a Thermaltake Smart Pro RGB 750 watt power supply. Looks like an RTX 3070 Ti or something. So, pretty decent system. It's got like I think he said it was a Ryzen 7 under there. So, it's a decent system. And so obviously the first thing that we do is we just see what happens when we try and turn it on. So because I've got it on pretty good authority of what's wrong, the first thing we're going to do is test the power supply. So we don't even need any other cables hooked up to it at this stage. All we need to do to test the power supply is to turn it on and press our power on button, because we should be seeing something if we press the power on button. So, step one, we know that there's no power going from the power supply to the actual system. So let's just make sure that I'm not, talking out my ass and this cable here that I've tried to use wasn't actually connected to something. And our test bench is fired up. We can see a little bit of RGB glow there, and the thing posted. So definitely got power coming out of the cable. So now basically the question is, has anything else in our system been fried from whatever's fried the power supply? Hey George, how you going? Good to have you with us. And so the best way to ascertain that is to literally go and grab another power supply. So this is a very similar power supply. Sorry, got a little bit of fluffy mouth on the top of that. Yeah, tell him to stay away from my power supplies. He doesn't listen. Just doesn't fucking listen. Stupid cat. Nah, he's good value. He's alright. And so we're going to be able to sort of test whether this power supply has sort of done its job and saved everything else in our build, just by whether everything turns on and fires up with a different power supply connected to it. And so we're going with my test power supply here, which is a power supply that I know the history and condition of, and it has been, you know, good. It's actually recently been warranty replaced because my other one died after like 4 years, and it had I think it had a 7-year warranty on it. Well, actually no, it has the 10-year warranty. I just saw that on the bottom there. So Thermaltake have power supplies with a 3-year, 5-year, 7-year, and 10-year warranty. So to be extra sure, make sure you double check what warranty duration you have. Now I saw this case here has a splitter cable. Sorry, a sleeved cable extension, I should say. Splitter cable, yeah. I'm looking at the USB, sorry, the CPU cable. And it splits in half, the two 4 pins to make an 8 pin. So I'm just like, yeah, splitter cable. Yeah, that makes sense. Words don't necessarily have to mean anything, right? It can just be whatever the fuck I want them to be. Alright. Hello. That is a PC that's doing PC things. So that's always advantageous.
How come the fans aren't spinning?
They'll be connected to some other SATA-based controller.
Oh, okay.
So we haven't plugged that in. I've just plugged in the 3 essentials. The motherboards, yeah, the graphics card power. And it's posted, and we're in Windows. Very nice. So we don't need to do anything in Windows. As far as I understand, we had an issue with the power supply, and it's exactly what we found when we started to poke around and have a look. So that makes our job relatively easy from here. So we can unplug my power supply, and we can go and plug in a brand new power supply. But obviously, before we plug in a new power supply and open up a box, we test it with an existing working power supply. Alrighty, so I got a Gigabyte UD 850 watt power supply here. So these units have a 10-year warranty. So that's the longest warranty that you'll get on electronics like this. Like if you look at something, if you look at like a high-end fridge or washing machine or dishwasher, you'll find that the longest sort of warranty that they'll put on any sort of device like that is 10 years. And so when you buy a power supply that comes with a 10-year factory warranty, you know that it's a decent quality unit. 10 years is a long time for something to stuff up in. So unless you make everything inside the unit, unless you source all the capacitors from the best factories, etc., you know, you could potentially lose all the profitability of your product line, for years, many years to come, because of bad warranty commitments where you basically had a whole batch of shit power supplies and because you had no quality control or something like that. That could completely ruin all of the profitability you make selling power supplies for, you know, let's say 10 years. Yeah. Hey Darren, how you going? Good to have you with us. Okay, so pretty simple job now, because all we've got to do is take out our old power supply and plug in our new power supply. So we didn't really need the test bench at this stage. All we needed was my power supply and the original PC to sort of diagnose what was going on here. And we can say pretty safely that it's definitely the power supply. What we can do to be extra sure is we could plug in my test bench via this power supply just to be absolute double sure. But I would say that's probably wasting my time a little bit, just because I've seen that this PC posts and boots up completely normally with another power supply. Alrighty, I'm gonna need my pliers. Because whoever built this PC likes the old cable ties. Okay, so we've got one of these cases that's got the glass on both sides. I really don't like them because it sort of means that you've got to make sure everything looks really tidy at the back. And then they give you this cheat panel here to hide all the small cables. I'm never a fan of sort of tying it up this tight. I generally consider that to be just making more work for anyone who has to work on it. However, one thing that we're moving to is we're moving to a modular power supply, so we won't need as much cable mass back here at all, which makes everything a lot easier. We do have one Molex. Okay. I was hoping to maybe get away with not hooking up an extra cable for that. Yeah. Sorry, what was that? A Lian Li Mini. Have I done one?
No, is that your test?
That's the test bench. Yeah, very well spotted. Very well spotted there, George. That is indeed the test bench. So the story with that one is that I received it and I noticed that it looked like the case had been dropped. But I pulled it out of the box and I was like, is this going to be okay? And then when I tried taking the panels off it, tempered glass just shattered in my hands. And I was like, oh yeah, tough chance getting that returned. So I was kind of stuck with this Lian Li Dynamic 11 Mini chassis. So it became my test bench. So that bloody killed it for me. Can't say I made much money off that PC. Alright. So this power supply is going to be slightly more efficient than the original power supply because we're going from an 80 plus bronze to an 80 plus gold. I would never suggest that you use the 80 plus rating as a guide to quality. Some people do, but you know, that just shows that people don't like to read the fine print. Because the 80 plus rating is the efficiency of the unit. So if one of the things that really concerns you about owning a PC is how much power they use, then yeah, maybe the efficiency of the power supply is something you might want to look into. But generally, it's something that it scales when you're running a lot of computers. So if you've got a big office and you've got like hundreds of computers that are running all day, you know, you can make a good case that over a couple of years, the money you'd save from investing in slightly better power supplies for everyone's computer actually saves you enough energy to be economically justifiable for the extra expense that you'd pay. But it really only happens at scale. Ordinary people, it's not as big a deal. Yeah, exactly. And I've hooked up an optical drive to it that's in there, and it's got basically everything that you'd ever want. There's room for hard drives. We've got trays here at the back for hard drives. So yeah, like it ticks all the boxes. Yeah. Oh, damn. Fuck me dead. You're that kid that used to have a dog. That's dark. That's dark, right?
That's fucked up.
But just saying, he's that kid who used to have a dog. Okay, so we're going from 750 watt to an 850 watt, so that sort of changes the power efficiency equation. So we'd probably end up with a little bit more efficiency here with this power supply. Yeah. Yeah, just a small form factor PSUs under there. So yeah, like I said, I've got everything. This is a working PC, essentially, even though it probably doesn't look like it. And yes, so if you want to know anything else about the test bench, it's got like pointless information. It's got a Ryzen 5600X CPU that is fundamentally damaged. I can't sell it to a customer, essentially. I could if I didn't care, but I can't sell it to anyone reasonably. It's got snapped off pins, and it sounds worse than what it is. The only thing that goes wrong with it is that it only functions with in single channel memory mode. So basically, two of the RAM slots become inactive any motherboard that you plug this CPU into. So I'd never sell it to a customer, but it's absolutely fit for purpose on the test bench. It doesn't need to be any more than that. Yeah, I don't care. And 5600X is a great CPU and will, you know, pair nicely with graphics cards moving into the future. Yeah. So the way I got into it was I've been doing it ever since I was young. It's more of a casual thing, like friends and stuff like that, you know. I'd frequently be like, "Oh yeah, I'll build you a PC, man. Just shout a carton of beer or something like that, and I'll come over with all the parts. Just pay for the parts and put it together for you." And so I did stuff like that for my friends and family my whole life. I just never thought that I'd be doing it as a full-time job. But then when COVID happened, that's when I started to scale things up, and yeah, here I am today, still doing it. Yeah. Hey Eddie, how you going? Good to have you with us. Oh, thanks very much. I'm still waiting to hear back. I've got to register. I've got to do all this stuff to collect stuff from stars. So like, anyone's stars that they're sending to me, I greatly appreciate it, but I can't do anything with it yet because they've got to send me stuff out in the mail, confirm I'm like a real person. It's quite an in-depth application process.
Kind of makes sense though, so people can't board it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm not saying it doesn't make sense. No. Definitely not saying it doesn't make sense. I'm just saying that it was yeah. You don't really think about it, but then yeah, if you receive any, even if it's a small amount, it's still like income that Facebook is paying me as like a contractor sort of thing for tax purposes. So like I got to send all of my, like, I got to send my tax file number and ABN and stuff to Facebook, and they've got to confirm by sending out a letter to my physical address, stuff like that. So I don't even think I need another cable tie because that's just being held down nicely as it is. Yeah, I think that looks fine there as is. Okay. So we've got our CPU, our graphics card, and our motherboard hooked up. And so down here, these are the peripherals. So all we should have to do with them is just plug in a couple of connections, like this Molex one. And a SATA one. Do we have two SATAs? No? Yeah? What's up? A Virgin Media Hub. Virgin Media. Do it. What is it? Wi-Fi 6, yep. Yeah, a lot of people still have like a Wi-Fi 5 router, but I'm assuming that for most people that's probably going to be fine. Most people's internet speed is not that fast in Australia. Even though we're like a first world country, we got like kind of third world-ish internet, which is kind of a bit of a shame, right? Alright. Yeah. Hey Darren, how you going? Good to have you with us. Yep.